Welcome to Seattle Maritime Matters. Hi, I'm Ken Saunderson with the Seattle Propeller Club, and today we're joined with Ruth Perez-Studer, who is the Senior Manager of Fishing and Commercial Vessel Services for the Port of Seattle. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hey, Ruth, why don't we start off with having you share a little bit about your job there with the Port of Seattle?
As the Senior Manager, my number one job is to support the North Pacific fishing fleet that goes to Alaska, as well as to Washington for fishing, as well as commercial vessels and wreck boaters. But my number one is supporting the fishing fleet that goes to Alaska.
And the fishing fleet is so important to the Seattle community. You made the transition from the private sector to the port. What attracted you to join the Port of Seattle?
Honestly, serving community and being part of the community in the balance, because I have a business background as well as an architectural background. I felt that being part of government, I would be able to bring those skills in to help us be better and manage the properties more efficiently, and continue to connect with workforce development and be able to really be a part of kind of the service side of what that leadership would look like.
And speaking of workforce development, why is the industry such a huge opportunity for women and people from BIPOC communities?
Opportunities are endless. For me, the living wage jobs, the benefits that come with it, as well as the potential for generational wealth, the growth of that generational wealth, I think is endless. And just to know that you have that literally in your kind of backyard here in the Seattle, greater Seattle area is just so opportune, and you can travel the world.
You know, one of the cool things I think is that you have an opportunity not only for at-sea positions within the fishing and seafood industry, but also shoreside, like your job. So you really don't have to go out in the water or be away from your family.
Exactly. Yeah. And the trade opportunities on dry docks, or even the services here on our docks at Fisherman's Terminal. We have a lot of people right now preparing to go out fishing, but we have all the auxiliary services preparing them to be able to go out.
You know, one of the things you also said earlier, I think, which is really important, is that in the Port of Seattle, you can really make a difference within your community. Talk a bit more about that.
So a lot of what we do is we actually do tours here at Fisherman's Terminal with BIPOC communities and youth to help them understand. It's kind of a touch point for them to see what the maritime industry, some things, has to offer. That's part of workforce development and really driving the connection to communities, as well as the investment that the port, especially waterside more recently, has done with cleanup of the Duwamish, as well as connections to the Duwamish communities to restore some of those historical issues that have come up in that part of the city, and environmental, and really having that connection to move us into innovation and moving us forward.
Where the fishing community and the Fisherman's Terminal is such an iconic piece of Seattle. I love your passion. Why are you optimistic about the future of the maritime and the fishing industries?
The fishing industries, because we support the North Pacific fishing fleet, and it is the most sustainably managed fishery in the world, we are willing to take the hard steps to have it be conserved for generations. So I think, one, that's optimistic in terms of the fleet for me. And then in terms of maritime, the opportunities. Once people understand what they can do and not be in debt and be able to move forward and have this generational wealth and living wages, it's exciting to know, watching the eyes of the youth when they come down to Fisherman's Terminal and realizing what they could do. That gives me a lot of hope.